Hello there, a patient warrior, training day by day to transform yourself through the philosophy of Stoicism. I believe that your presence here today is not a coincidence. Usually, we only turn to philosophy when there is already a void within us, a quiet urge whispering, "I need to live differently." Perhaps you have endured long stretches of stress, repeated disappointments, or simply those old questions no one has ever answered for you. What makes a better life? If such questions live in your heart, then congratulations, because the very act of stopping, asking, and striving to act, that alone is already a great step forward. Many people go through their entire lives without ever asking. They let life drift away unconsciously, led only by habit and desire. But you are different. You are searching. And that is the true beginning of change. However, we both know this. Merely wanting to change is not enough. A dream without direction easily dissolves in the face of harsh reality. You need a set of guiding principles. Like a sailor at sea, without a compass, he would only spin endlessly among the waves. Like a fortress, without each brick laid firmly, even a small storm can bring it down. And right here, Stoicism appears like a compass, like the very first bricks with which you can build the fortress of your inner life. Stoicism does not promise to make your life easy. It does not promise that hardship will disappear. But it teaches you how to face it, how to stand firm, and how to find serenity even amid the greatest upheavals. One of those who lived most fully in the Stoic spirit was Marcus Aurelius, the Roman Emperor, both a ruler and a philosopher. Imagine an emperor burdened with border wars, devastating plagues, betrayal within his court, and private losses in his own family. Yet instead of drowning in power or despair, he chose to sit down and write in his journals. Not for the world's praise, but to remind himself, live by reason, hold your calm, remember that death will come. The remarkable thing is that what he wrote more than 1,800 years ago still holds its truth today. And from those humble lines, we can draw out 9 timeless rules, the principles that helped him stand steady while a vast empire trembled. Today, I want to walk with you through these 9 rules, not to make you a philosopher, nor to give you words that sound nice only in theory, but so that you can take at least one principle and apply it immediately in your own life. Because you will see, just one small shift in thinking can turn an entire chain of actions, and when your actions change, your life begins to transform. These 9 rules will serve as the first bricks for you to build a strong inner fortress. A fortress not to hide away from the world, but one that gives you the strength to step out and face it fully. So, as you hear each rule, I invite you to ask yourself, what is this rule saying to me? How can I apply it today in something tangible? And when this video ends, choose at least one rule to practice. If you want to continue walking with Stoicism, to hear more stories and lessons that can reshape the way you live each day, I invite you to subscribe right now. Because here, we do not just study Stoicism as theory, we ignite it into a living flame, a light to guide you on your path of growth. Take a deep breath and get ready. For right now, we will step into the journey of discovering Marcus Aurelius's 9 timeless rules for life. Rule 1. Control what you can control. Among the most important teachings of Stoicism, perhaps no principle is more essential than this. Clearly distinguish between what lies within your control and what does not. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Human life is brief. Only one thing truly belongs to you, your mind, and the way you choose to respond to whatever happens." He lived through wars, plagues, rebellions, and crushing political pressures. Yet he understood, no one, not even an emperor, can control the final outcome of everything. The only thing he truly held was his own attitude and his own actions, moment by moment. Think of modern life. You can work hard, but you cannot fully control how your boss evaluates you. You can love with all your heart, but you cannot control whether a relationship will last forever. You can exercise and eat healthily, but you cannot control every twist of fate concerning your health. If you let your mind chase after things that cannot be held, you will be drained. You will rage at what is beyond your reach. You will despair over what you could never change. And you will waste your precious energy on battles that mean nothing. But if you learn to return to what you can control yourself, everything changes. Instead of worrying about what others think, you choose what is the right thing I can do now. Instead of complaining, why is life unfair, you choose how will I respond so I am not broken by it. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine going to work every day and facing a difficult colleague. He speaks harshly, always looking for your weaknesses. If you choose to control what is not yours, his character, you will fall into endless frustration and anger. But if you choose what is yours, your reaction, you will realize you have many options. Stay calm, laugh it off, or even turn his attacks into motivation to prove yourself. You cannot control another person, but you can always control yourself. Here lies the key. When you master your response, you have already won half the battle. Marcus Aurelius was no different from us. He too felt anger, sorrow, and disappointment. But each time he wrote in his journal, he reminded himself, "Remember, these things are beyond my will. What I can do is live honestly, stay calm, and act with reason." Now, I invite you to try a small exercise. Take a sheet of paper and draw 2 columns. On one side, write what I can control. On the other side, write what I cannot control. And whenever your mind feels tangled, look at that paper, focus on the left column, and let go of the right. If you remember only one thing from this rule, remember this: you cannot control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. Rule 2. Accept impermanence. If there is one truth humans find hardest to accept, it is this: everything changes. Stoic philosophy constantly reminds us, all things are impermanent. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Observe all that surrounds you, everything soon passes and vanishes, like smoke, like morning mist." He did not write this to make us pessimistic. On the contrary, Marcus wanted us to awaken. Because when we recognize impermanence, we learn to let go of attachment and to cherish more deeply what is here in this moment. Look at Marcus's own life. During his reign, he lost many loved ones, including his own children. For a father, that is a pain beyond words. Yet instead of collapsing into despair, he viewed the death of his children as part of nature's cycle. He reminded himself, "Everything I love, everything I own, is given to me for a time, and when the moment comes, nature will take it back." In modern life, we too face impermanence every day. A job that once seemed secure can vanish after a single restructuring decision. A relationship that felt unshakable can dissolve in a single evening. Even our own bodies, once strong and flexible, change inevitably with the years. The problem is, we often resist impermanence. We want to hold everything forever. We suffer when people leave, when money disappears, when age marks our face. Yet suffering does not come from change itself, but from our clinging to what must change. If we accept that everything will eventually shift, we live differently. We are less angry at loss because we understand it is natural. We love more while we still have the chance, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. And we are grateful for small moments, a family meal, a caring message, a quiet morning, because we know each arrives only once. Here is a simple exercise I invite you to try. Write down 3 things you once believed would be forever, but which have since changed. It could be a friendship, a belief, or an old habit. As you reflect, you'll see, impermanence does not only take away, it also gives. It takes away childhood, but brings maturity. It closes one door, but opens another path. Remember, impermanence is not an enemy. It is the natural rhythm of life. When we accept impermanence, we no longer fear loss. Instead, we learn to live more fully with what we have. And when you know that all things will change, you will find peace, realizing that even today's pain is only a passing guest. Rule 3. Live in the present. Human beings are often trapped in two invisible prisons: regret for the past and worry for the future. Part of our mind endlessly replays what has already gone, our mistakes, missed chances, wounds not yet healed. Another part races forward, busy sketching out scenarios. What if I fail? What if I lose? What if tomorrow doesn't turn out as I hope? And in doing so, we lose the only thing that truly belongs to us, the present. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Human life is only a fleeting moment. All that we really possess is the present instant." For him, the present was the only place we can act, think, and live. The past is locked behind us. The future has not yet arrived. Only the present remains fragile, yet priceless. Picture yourself sitting at a family dinner. The food is warm, the conversation lively, and a smile flickers across the table. But if your mind is elsewhere, caught in unfinished emails or tomorrow's deadlines, you are not truly at that table. Your body is there, but your mind is absent. Looking back, you'll realize how many precious moments slipped by simply because you refused to live in the present. Stoicism teaches us something simple. Return to what is happening right now. When working, give yourself fully to the work. When in conversation, listen deeply. When walking, feel each step beneath your feet. Living in the present does not mean forgetting the past or abandoning the future. It means knowing that only in this moment do we have the power to choose our actions. In today's world, this has become harder than ever. Phones buzz constantly, notifications pull us away from reality, social media drags us into endless comparisons, making us crave more for the future instead of savoring what we already have. So what can we do? Very simple. Practice small moments of presence. For example, each morning before touching your phone, sit still and take one deep breath. Let your mind notice the sunlight through the window, the sound of birds outside, and the rhythm of your heartbeat. Just a few minutes, but it reminds you, I am alive right now. Remember this, the present is not just a bridge to pass through, it is the very place where life happens. If we miss it, we miss life itself. And ask yourself, at this very moment, are you truly here in each word, in each breath, or is your mind wandering somewhere else? Rule 4. Do the right thing, even when no one is watching. In today's society, we are often caught in an invisible spiral. Whatever we do, we expect recognition, praise, or at least a like on social media. But in Stoic philosophy, the true value of an action does not lie in the eyes of others. It lies in the integrity of our own conscience. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Do not wait for anyone to reward or witness you. It is enough to know that you have lived rightly." That was an immensely practical attitude, especially for an emperor. He stood at the peak of power, with thousands of eyes ready to follow his every move. Yet he understood that integrity cannot rely solely on outside attention, it must be nurtured from within. Think about it. Have you ever done something good, only to feel disappointed because no one noticed? Maybe you helped a stranger, held the door for someone, or completed a decent task without acknowledgement. That hollow feeling arises because deep down we still long for recognition. But according to Stoicism, this is the trap of the ego. When we let our actions depend on praise, we give away our inner freedom. The Stoic chooses a different path. They do the right thing simply because it is right, nothing more, nothing less. It is the natural work of being human. Just as eyes are meant to see, ears to hear, and reason to guide our actions. A simple example. Imagine you pick up a wallet dropped on the street. If you return it just to be praised as honest, you act for a reward. But if you return it because it is the right thing to do, then even if no one knows, you still feel at peace. And that peace, not the approving gaze of others, is the real reward. In our time, this truth may be even more crucial. Social media allows us to live two lives. a polished public one in front of others, and a hidden one where we alone know who we truly are. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us, a person's worth does not lie in the image they project, but in the choices they make when no one is watching. I invite you to reflect on a recent moment. Did you have the chance to do the right thing, even a small one, when no one was aware? What choice did you make? And if the same chance came again, how would you choose? Remember, integrity does not need the spotlight. It shines on its own within your soul, and that is something no one can ever take away. Rule 5. Embrace adversity as training. No one can escape hardship in life. There are days you wake up and it feels as if the whole world is against you. Work in chaos, misunderstandings with loved ones, declining health, or an unexpected crisis crashing down. In those moments, many people ask, why me? But in the Stoic spirit, that question transforms into, what can I learn from this? Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who bore the weight of the Roman Empire, faced endless wars, devastating plagues, and betrayal even among those closest to him. Instead of complaining, he reminded himself, the obstacle on the path becomes the path. Every obstacle carries within it an opportunity to train. This may sound paradoxical. Who would want adversity? But think about it. Muscles only grow stronger under resistance. The will, too, matures only when tested. If life were nothing but ease, our spirit would remain fragile like iron that has never passed through fire. For example, when you are criticized, instead of reacting with anger or sadness, see it as a chance to train your composure. When you fail at work, instead of drowning in self-blame, treat it as a real-life lesson no classroom can provide. Even illness or old age, for the Stoic, is part of the training. It teaches acceptance of limits and gratitude for each day of health. In modern life, we can apply this mindset to the smallest situations. Stuck in traffic? That's a patience drill. Was someone rude to you? A chance to practice calmness. Plans disrupted. A lesson in flexibility and adaptation. Every difficulty, big or small, is an invisible gym for the soul. Here is a practice I invite you to try. Write down 3 recent challenges you have faced. Then ask yourself, if this were training, what have I learned? What skill have I strengthened? You may be surprised to discover that adversity is not only there to cause pain, but to forge growth. The Stoics believed, hardships do not come to destroy us, they come to prepare us. And when you look at adversity through that lens, you will see that life is training you every day to be steadier, more patient, and freer in your mind. Change your perspective. Adversity is not an enemy, but a silent teacher. And if you are brave enough to learn from it, you will grow stronger than the version of yourself you were yesterday. Rule 6. Be simple. The less you depend, the freer you are. This is one of the core ideas of Stoic philosophy. True freedom does not come from how much wealth, status, or admiration we have, but from reducing our desires and lessening our dependencies. Marcus Aurelius, though emperor of a mighty empire, chose for himself a simple way of life. In meditations, he repeatedly reminded himself, do not fall into luxury, do not let the soul be bound by trivialities. He once wrote, a happy man is one who is content with the simple things, a meal when hungry, a bed when weary, a roof against the rain, and Sunday. What is striking is this. Marcus had the right to indulge in anything he wanted, palaces, banquets, jewelry, rare treasures. Yet he understood that the more desires one has, the more chains one wears. And to a Stoic soul, inner freedom is far more precious than any throne. In modern life, we too are easily swept into the whirlwind of consumption. Every year brings a new phone model, a new piece of technology, a new fashion trend. We tell ourselves, if only I had this, I'd be happier. But that joy often fades quickly, leaving an emptiness, which we then seek to fill with yet another thing. It is a cycle without end. Stoicism offers a solution. Live simply. Simplicity does not mean asceticism or rejecting all comforts, but knowing what is enough, knowing how to choose wisely, and not letting possessions rule the soul. You may enjoy what you have, but do not let them become chains. For example, instead of always chasing the newest phone, ask yourself, is what I already have truly insufficient? Instead of stuffing your closet with clothes, choose only those that are necessary, fitting, and lasting. Instead of shopping on impulse, buy only for real needs. And above all, learn to cherish the simple joys: a quiet morning, a good book, an honest conversation. The Stoics believed that as we reduce desires, we also reduce fears. Fear of loss, fear of lack, fear of not measuring up, all fade when we learn to be content. I invite you to try a small exercise. This week, choose one area of your life to simplify, perhaps eating, clothing, or technology. Observe. Do you feel lighter? Remember, simplicity does not take away joy, it restores freedom, and inner freedom, that is the foundation of lasting happiness. Rule 7. Do not fear death. There is a truth that every one of us knows, yet often avoids. We are all going to die. It may sound heavy, but to Stoic philosophy, this is not a tragedy, it is a profoundly valuable reminder. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "Do not fear death. What should be feared is never truly beginning to live." For the Stoics, death is not an enemy. It is simply a natural part of existence, like sunrise and sunset, like the falling of leaves from a tree. The moment we are born, we enter this natural cycle, and one day, leaving it is just as inevitable. Ask yourself, why do we fear death so much? Often, it is because we fear losing what we love, our family, friends, work, dreams. We fear being forgotten, yet this very fear causes us to live half-heartedly, to hesitate, to postpone what truly matters. Stoicism teaches us to face death, not to run from it. When you accept that death cannot be avoided, a new door opens. You begin to cherish each moment. A simple meal with family, a quiet morning with sunlight on the porch, all of these become infinitely more precious because you know they will not last forever. Remember the practice of memento mori. Remember that you will die. This is not a curse, but a medicine. It awakens us to live more fully. If today were your last day, would you waste it on pointless anger? Would you still be troubled by a trivial insult? Or would you spend that time loving, daring to do what you believe is right, and living with fullness? Real life has proven this lesson many times. There are people who, only when faced with a terminal illness, begin to truly live. They laugh more, forgive more easily, and devote every moment to what really matters. Stoicism urges us not to wait until then. We can begin now. Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, if this were my last day, how would I live it? Your answer is the compass that ensures you do not waste another day. Death does not diminish the value of life. On the contrary, it makes every moment priceless. And when you no longer fear death, only then are you truly free to live. Rule 8. Regard all people as fellow beings. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Human beings are made to live together, like hands and feet. If we oppose one another, it is as if one hand were turned against the other." This is one of the deepest teachings of Stoic philosophy. We do not exist in isolation. No matter how strong you are still part of the human community. And when you recognize that everyone is your fellow being, you begin to see the world with greater tolerance and calm. Think of an ordinary day. You step outside and get stuck in traffic, and someone cuts in and frustrates you. At work, a colleague carelessly says something hurtful. At home, a loved one may misunderstand you. If you see them as opponents, life will feel like an endless battle. But if you see them as fellow humans, people who are also struggling with fears, burdens, and mistakes just as you are, you realize they too are only human, and at times they fail, just as you have been imperfect. Marcus's story is deeply thought-provoking. He was the emperor of Rome, ruler over millions, facing traitors, corrupt officials, and even wars. Yet in Meditations, he wrote, "Rise each morning and remind yourself, today I will meet the meddling, the ungrateful, the arrogant. But none of them can truly harm me, for we share the same reason and the same humanity." He did not expect perfection from people. He simply reminded himself to accept them as an inevitable part of life, just as we accept the changing weather of sun and rain. So how do we apply this in daily life? A small exercise to practice. Tomorrow, when someone makes you angry, instead of reacting immediately, pause for a moment and think, this person is just like me, struggling with worries I cannot see. If I were in their situation, perhaps I would act the same way. With just this small shift in perspective, you will see your anger dissolve more quickly and your heart open more widely. Stoicism does not demand that you love everyone unconditionally, but it encourages you to see them as branches growing from the same root. When you do, you discover a simple yet profound truth. You are not alone. Rule 9. Live by reason, not by desire. Among the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, there is a short line that captures the entire spirit of Stoicism. Our life is the result of our thoughts. The soul takes on the color of its own thoughts. What sets humans apart from animals is this: we have reason. Reason helps us distinguish right from wrong, the long term from the fleeting, genuine benefit from hollow craving. Yet, ironically, many times we let desire carry us away, instead of letting reason lead the way. Think of a ship. Reason is the rudder, while desire is the winds and waves. If the waves decide, the ship will crash against the rocks. But if the rudder is held firmly, the ship will travel far and steadily. Marcus Aurelius, though a powerful emperor, lived a simple life because he knew that desire never has an end. Glory, wealth, pleasures, all of these can turn a person into a slave of his own greed. He chose to live by reason, devoting time to philosophy, disciplining himself, and doing what was beneficial to the community. In everyday life, we too are easily swayed by desire, craving a new piece of technology just because others have it, shopping to cover up emotions, even when the closet is already full, chasing praise and admiration, while forgetting inner values. Stoicism does not advise us to reject all joys. It only reminds us, let reason be in command, and let desire serve rather than control us. A small practice exercise. Next time a desire arises, ask yourself 3 questions. Is this truly necessary for my happiness? If I do not have it, can I still live well? Is this the decision of reason or merely a fleeting impulse? You may be surprised to find that 7 out of 10 times the desire fades after a few minutes, leaving behind a sense of relief. Stoicism teaches that true freedom is not doing whatever one pleases, but not being enslaved by desire. When reason leads the way, you will live a life steady, clear, and enduring, unshaken by the storms of the external world. My friend, we have just walked through a journey together. Not a journey of roads and footsteps, but a journey of the inner self, where Stoic philosophy has lit 9 guiding torches. Rule 1 teaches us to distinguish what is within our control and what is beyond it. Rule 2 reminds us to live in the present, for the past has gone and the future has not yet come. Rule 3 trains us to master our emotions, not to be ruled by anger. Rule 4 emphasizes the power of discipline, which shapes dignity and freedom. Rule 5 opens our eyes to impermanence, so we may cherish and let go at the right time. Rule 6 teaches that simplicity is true wealth. The fewer desires we have, the freer we become. Rule 7 helps us face death, so that we may truly begin to live. Rule 8 reminds us to see humanity as kin, to widen compassion and understanding. Rule 9 calls us to live by reason, so as not to become slaves of desire. These 9 rules are not distant words, but a compass to orient your daily life. Keep them, and you will keep inner steadiness. Whenever you feel lost, look back to them. and you will know how to take your next step. But I want you to remember one thing. Philosophy will not change your life merely by listening or reading. It comes alive only through practice. One small step each day, remaining calm before a harsh remark, appreciating an ordinary morning, asking questions before giving in to desire. These small steps will gradually shape a new person. You, a silent warrior, have reached this point, which means within you lies a yearning for change. Nurture that yearning, turn it into action, and build a life steady and free, as Marcus Aurelius once lived. And if you wish to continue this journey, the journey of becoming a stronger, more patient, and wiser version of yourself, click subscribe so you will not miss the next videos. Each video will be like a brick, helping you build the fortress of your inner self. Before you leave, I want to leave you with a resonant question. If tomorrow were your last day, how would you live today? Reflect on it, and let that question stay with you, like a small flame quietly burning in your heart, the flame of one who keeps the Stoic fire.